Hello ladies and gentlemen, Ralph's Automotive, welcome back channel. Don't know if we recognize the car. I did find this one here had a missing alternator tensioner, and the belt was just free spinning over it. Well, it worked for a little while and the alternator went out after all. I'm not going to go through there and do the circuit check with you guys, but I do figure that I'm going to bring you all along, and what I'm going to do, and the reason I'm doing it is because they actually got the bolt down there. We are going to replace the bolt. We'll get that put on, and I'll show you the bolt that was missing in there. That was the last time we didn't have that. It's got a check engine light. I'm going to check quick codes. Matter of fact, we can do that together. I'm using the Autel today. I've not had it out in probably a year. The unit itself, if you look over there, let's see, we'll get a good shot at that. You see the unit itself is broke, so I got it hooked up with an actual mouse, and I got it hooked through the HDMI port to even be able to use it. That scan tool right there, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm not saying it's really bad, but I'm highly disappointed with that Autel. This is the Pro version, the 908, I believe, Pro. You know, it's got the pass-through unit with it. Well, matter of fact, we can lay it right here. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to unplug it, but that's the pass-through unit. So pass-through unit worked fine. I've used it on multiple vehicles to program with, and I have to admit that I've never had problems programming anything with it. But that's about the only good thing I can say about the Autel. The scan tool had never been abused, always been put up and back in the drawer, you know. Didn't see heavy use or anything like that, didn't get dropped or nothing, and you know, the screen is already doing that, you know, it was doing this after about a year or so, and that's kind of disappointing, you know. I know they're cheap, they're not a lot of money, but anyway, enough of that. Let's see if we can figure out what kind of codes we got in here. Of course, that's the Kia. So go to Asia, Kia. See if we can do something with the VIN number here. I don't know that this one here supports a VIN read. I have no idea. Give that a try. See if it works. Make sure key is on. It's dinging. Anyway, yep, key is on. It doesn't look like it's actually supporting that. Excuse me. VIN reading failed. I thought so. We're going to escape that. Yeah, okay. Oops. Not okay. Escape manual selection. Let's see if that's got a tag on the back of it, because I don't ever remember. That's a LS, Kia Spectra LS. So that's a Spectra LS. That's the wrong one. Don't mess that up. This one here is 1.8 dual overhead cam. And I said that about it not supporting the automatic scan, the automatic VIN read. It may actually support that. There may be something wrong with the network on this thing. It's a possibility. I don't know. We'll get there here in just a minute. We'll see what it does. So apparently it is reading, so it did not support the VIN read. I personally don't get these kind of cars here too often. They're pretty low budget cars, so. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying, you know, I don't see them very often. While that's doing its thing right there, I'm gonna have to go blow my nose. I'm a little bit under the weather. It would appear as though our ABS module is not talking, or maybe don't have one. I don't know. There's never no telling. This is New Year's Eve, last vehicle for this year. I figured I'd bring you guys along. Alright, so we don't have that module in there. Let's see what the engine's got to say. And oh yeah, by the way, if you have Auto, it does the same thing. You can use a mouse with it. I guess you can, with it being hooked up. The touchscreen on it is actually working. If I touch here in the middle, see, it actually did work. I'm sure you saw that. Throttle position sensor, the P0121 is in there. I'll let the customer know that. As far as doing anything with it, I don't think he's budgeted to do anything with it, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to clear them codes for him. See what the transmission is complaining about. Alright, I guess I cleared all of it. Not a bother. I'm not worried about it. It cleared all the codes, so we're not here to worry about any codes that are coming up. I will write it down in my database. You know, I'll tell the customer about it. That's normally what I do. And if in the future that light comes on and he decides, okay, we're gonna get it checked, I'll be more than happy to fix it to him. But anyway, what I was getting at a while ago, the control wire over here on the alternator, it's already been checked. I did that quick like. We can throw a meter on there. Get you a quick shot of that. Hopefully get a quick shot of it anyway. So 12 some odd volts. Yep, so the voltage does stay the same. Well, you guys get in there. Get you a better shot of that. Sorry about that. Almost didn't. So we got no action here whatsoever. Like I said, I did check the wire. Wire integrity is good. So we do a before and after. We can just leave that hanging. Actually, we'll move this around to this side. The alternator on this car obviously lives. I'm going to turn it off. Getting excited here because it's almost time to wrap up the year. I'm sure some of you are glad I shut that annoying thing off anyway, because the dinger kept going off. I get to the point where I don't hear it anymore, but I know you guys might. So, if you remember what we did here last time, bring you all in there. So the alternator living right there. Make sure that we're zoomed out. Get a better picture of that. So hopefully you can see I stuck the bolt in backwards on that. There's nothing in that bracket. It is fairly roomy right there. So no big deal there. This time, sometimes I do not. I'm guilty as charged. But this time, we're going to go ahead and start with the battery. I'm going to take the battery cable loose. So we're not going to be in for any surprises on that one. Like I said, I do admit I do have a bad habit of not taking battery cable loose. So. Whew. Yeah. Well, make that security go off on that one because I flickered the battery. So it's 10 mil on the cable. Then of course you got the plug. This is just a 2-wire. Wow. As always, I've said this in other videos. Sometimes undoing the plugs on these things is a real booger. A lot of times it's caused by dirt getting in there, I think, you know, my opinion. A lot of times it's dirt getting in there, and I always push in before I try to loosen them, but sometimes that works and sometimes it just doesn't. So, trying to find that clip over here, get a little bit more squeeze on it. Oh my. Oh my. That is tight. Okay, there is a red and a brown. Brown wire needs to be verified on this. Make sure that part of the circuit is actually functioning correctly. And as I've already mentioned, we've already did this. This alternator here is simply bad. That's all there's to it. There's no in-betweens. I know, I do apologize. I'd like to get done with this one. I know a lot of times you guys want to see the actual diagnostic on something, but and that's fine. But end of the day, you know, I like to get done with this and wrap it up. And most of the time, people, there's going to be a lot of people, don't know how to phrase that. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to see the diagnostics on something, and some people are really not too concerned with it. They just going to want to know how to replace something, because at the end of the day, truth to be known, there is a lot of people that's what they're going to do, is they're going to replace something, and that's the end of it. I hate to say that, but it is what it is. You know, if you end up spending the time to check something, of course that is the proper procedure. You know, that is the way to go. But like I said, at the end of the day, a lot of people just don't do it because the extra time and them trying to figure out what's what, you know. And, you know, it's just one of them things where, you know, what's feasible and what's not feasible. You know, you learn about, you know, what's controlling that alternator. You know, it's obviously you got to give it a feel to make it work. But at the end of the day, you know, people that do it themselves, you know, they can take it out, they can take it down there to O'Reilly's, they hook it up to their machine, they tell you, okay, it's good, it's bad, or AutoZone, you know, Advance, they all do it, you know, they all check them. I just said O'Reilly's because, you know, they all can check these alternators and see if they work or not. So, you know, that's really the way that a lot of people go. They'll just do that and forget about it, you know, rather than having the headache of trying to figure out how the system works. If you got the information, of course, we can check, you know, if you got the information. But a lot of people just don't have that, you know. And if you spend 15 minutes, and I'm just going to make up a number, if you spend 15 minutes trying to Google it, you know, to Google the information for it, well, heck, you done been to the parts store and have them test it by that time, you know. So, did I just grab the wrong socket? Yeah, I sure did. 14 millimeters, if you want to remove or loosen that bracket, that's going to house our bolt, which we're going to loosen that up a little bit. Whoops, slipped off. That's it. All you got to do on that one, or anything, all that I do is just loosen up so it can freely move up and down. I switch back over to the other socket. I do remember that bolt was pretty hard going in, so I'm sure it's not going to do me no favors coming out. Did a little bit of organizing in the shop. Added the bolt bin, organized that. I've had a bolt bin in here for a long, or not in here, but I've had a bolt bin for a long time, and it was filled with all standard bolts, nuts, washers, and stuff instead of metric, because like I said, I've owned it for a long time. I'm talking 20 years probably, and back then I wasn't really concerned with no metric bolts all that much. I was doing other things, so we finally got that all switched over, relabeled, organized. I'm just making conversation, by the way. You know, I'm kind of excited about it because now I can actually find a bolt that I need. So now that one bolt I put in it the other day is, of course, the only thing that I have to take out up here. We're going underneath. Like I said, the reason I recorded it, I wanted to add this to it because the last video, you know, all I showed is how to rig it, basically. So this video here, I'm going to show you the actual bolt that goes in there, the tensioner part of it, and show you how to do it right. So, got the car up in the air. I'm going to try to give you a shot of that, but anyway, do we Okay, so this is the important part. Canister, get my milling out of the way. The canister, lift it up, kind of lay it, slip it back here. That is the way you have to hold the alternator. You roll it, you bring it up like that, and you hold it like this. I'm trying to keep my body out of the way. And just like this is how it has to come out. So just like that. And remember, it goes back down the same way. You kind of twist it out like, you starting out like this, of course, when it's, or like this when it's in the bracket. You coming out, you rolling it, you come back out of the back, you tilt it up that way and pull it out. That's how that alternator comes out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Make sure this is the right bracket. I'm hoping it is. I mean, I think they're all about the same anyway, so I don't think there's something you really can mess up, but yeah, either way, this will work. Everybody likes Dorman products, is what that is actually, but it's a bolt. Surely you can't mess that up. But let me get you a shot of this. So it's a 917-148 is what that is. If anybody ever needs it, it's about $13. You know, it doesn't break the bank, and right there is what that is. This is the bolt. This is the block, and what it amounts to is it's going to sit in the bracket like this, just like this, and then the bolt goes from the backside into the alternator. So, and that's how we're going to put it on. So we're going to put this bolt in and run it all the way up, but we're not going to tighten it. And then we tighten our belt with this adjuster bolt right here, and we'll get the belt to the proper tension, and then we'll tighten everything up. That's how they're supposed to work. And if you remember the previous video, you know, all I did is use a bar to pry it over. Well, you see how long that lasted. Of course, it wasn't the bolt's fault or anything like that. That was just a matter of bad luck on his part, you know, that the alternator actually did go out. So it had a lot of oil in it, so I'm not really surprised. The oil filter on the thing is right there, right beside it. So I don't know if I don't know what they did, you know, I can't say. But anyway, this is the bottom bolt right here. Let me flip that screen around so we can see that. This is the bottom bolt right here. What you want to make sure that you clean the threads up. We'll clean them up real good. That's the one thing that we don't want to fight because of where it's at. You know, make sure that this goes in, and as you can see right now, I'm already stuck right here. I already don't like that. We're going to go ahead and clean that the threads up here on the bolt, and if I have to, I'll check that as well and see what we got going on. So I went ahead and cleaned my bolt up. You still see that, I guess. Well, heck. So that part right there is working great. It's nice and smooth. I'll put just a tad bit of anti-seize on that. That is the one thing that you want to pay attention to make sure that bolt goes in easy, because it'll help you tremendously. Well, anytime you do work like that, you know, you want to take care of that part of it, because it does help out so much when stuff actually comes or goes back together easy. Okay, if you here's the the thing that I normally do on these here, I do it from underneath. You don't have to do that from underneath. You can reach in there. If you have long arms, you can reach down in there and get that bolt in, no problem at all. I just got short arms, and I normally twist up like a pretzel. You know, that alternator can come out from the, or you can do all the work from the top. You don't have to go underneath. I just chose to lift it up real quick and do it from underneath. I can see there, you know, but anyway, either way will work. So, went under there, stuck the bolt in. Like I said, you don't have to do that. I did do it from underneath, and when I went under there, excuse me, I left the wrench on it. I left it sitting on the bolt. As you can see, it's easily accessible from the top. You can do it. It's just easier to start the alternator. For me, it is. We've got the belt back on it. I hope the camera can see it, because I can't tell by the screen whether you can see it or not. Screen too small for me. Sorry, guys. It just is what it is. But anyway, there's your bolt. There's your block. And all you got to do now is tighten it up, tighten that bolt up. Of course, all I did is on the back side is I run it up just enough to hold it against the bracket. Now we're going to tighten that bolt. We'll get that belt to the proper tension, and well, we'll be wrapping up. We're going to tighten the rest of it up. Okay, got the battery tightened back up. Okay, I'm back. This battery here was hooked to the clamp. I never did undo the clamp. It's got a little tab. I undid the 10mm bolt beside it, so in case you're wondering. But anyway, let's crank this baby. And see what it's throwing down. I've got no hose on it, so I'm going to put a hose on it real quick. Starting to smell it. Car don't smell bad, but I still smell the exhaust gas, so I'm gonna let it run for just a few minutes. So I'm gonna wrap up the video right here. You guys have yourselves a happy new year. We do appreciate all the new subscribers that we've gotten, and I know I'm still trying to grow a channel. You know, hopefully we'll get a little bit more diagnostic work. Hard to do in this area. You know, my shop is not too awful busy. You know, not like some of the guys, you know, that are really busy. But anyway, we do appreciate everybody. And again, have a happy new year. I'm out.